Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad and very humbled to be back. President William Samoei Ruto is on a 4 days Nyanza tour. Yesterday, he was in Kisumu, and the reception was very massive and very cordial, and one that can really make a leader be very happy. Today, he was in Homa Bay, and they were overjoyed to meet William Ruto, and William Ruto was equally very happy. You listen to the speeches from Governor Wanga and all the other leaders. They were thanking William Ruto for appointing John Mbadi as the new CS in the very prestigious docket of finance. They are also thanking him for appointing the former minority leader, Opiyo Wandayi, in the Ministry of Energy. And of course, for the very first time, the first lady to occupy the docket of the Attorney General, the office of the Attorney General, and the first from Luo Nyanza. They are full of praises, and I'm wondering, isn't it a right to be given those dockets because they are Kenyans? What we should be looking at is meritocracy. Are the appointments based on merit? But as William Ruto was touring Nyanza and the kind of reception that he got, many people are asking one question. This is a region that had complained that William Ruto rigged the election, rigged them of their victory because they largely voted for Raila Amolo Odinga. And they went to the streets and they were killed. And they even said that they never recognized the legitimacy of William Ruto's, presidency. But within a short time, they have sanitized William Ruto. And William Ruto is now impeccable. He's the new leader. And when you look at the kind of politics that William Ruto is doing, it is a projection to what is going to happen in 2027. Because William Ruto had got only two burden on his shoulder. One was how to survive his first term, and the second one was how he was going to get back for a second term as a president. Now, when you look at what this is pointing at, we have a very bleak future. Our 2027 election is doomed. We are a doomed people. And I will explain to you why. Because ever since William Ruto formed this so-called broad-based government, he's been trying to popularize his move and is going to the places that he picked some few leaders to become cabinet secretaries, and he's going there and they have sanitized him. And on this video, I want to tell you why this Nyanza tour, together with all the other tours that have been there after the broad-based government, and of course the future tours that are going to come, are going to ensure that our 2027 election is a doomed exercise. Before we do this, if you're watching us for the first time, please take a second or two and subscribe to our channel. Click the notification bell to allow YouTube to notify you whenever we release a video like this. Give this video a like so that it goes a long way in promoting this video. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your continued support. William Ruto had got about 3 enemies or 3 competitors when he got into power. The first competitor, the first thorn in the flesh to his administration, was none other than Raila Amolo Odinga. Raila had claimed that his victory was stolen. He led people to the street and people were killed. So William Ruto spent sleepless nights, burned the midnight oil, the midnight candle, to ensure that he crafted ways of neutralizing Raila Amolo Odinga. And he got the answer. And the answer was the African Union Commission chairmanship quest. And that is why you've seen Raila toned down. And William Ruto neutralized Raila together with the external forces like Meg Whitman, the US and all that. And Raila accepted to work with William Samoei Ruto. That is a fact. And for those who are still telling me that Raila is still in opposition, I humbly beg to disagree. So William Ruto neutralized Raila by giving him the African Union Commission quest, which is also a good thing if Raila wants to go and try, his luck in the African Union. It's okay. We believe in his leadership, and we believe he's going to provide the kind of leadership that you need to unite Africa against the external forces that have always dictated African affairs, including elections, trade, and everything. The second enemy or competitor that emerged was his own deputy. We know that for some times they were not reading from the same page. Gachagua was denied a chopper, and in some cases he boycotted William Ruto's state functions. And even when people went to the streets led by Gen Zs, we were told that it was Gachagua in cahoot with other staff members working in his office that had infiltrated the Gen Z's protest, and he wanted to topple Ruto's government. And with that, William Ruto declared his deputy as an enemy, a man who he declared wanted to topple his government. So that was the second competitor or second enemy. And the third one, of course, the Gen Z. When they went to the street for the first time, William Ruto was scared stiff. We saw a president who humbled himself, a man who took humble pie, and that is what led to the dissolution of the cabinet. And of course, that is why the former police boss Koome resigned. And so William Ruto was holding meetings to find out what he could do to ensure that he neutralized Gen Zs. And when he appealed to Raila Amolo Odinga, and Raila accepted to work with him, and he appointed certain members of Raila's party into the cabinet, he neutralized Gen Z and he neutralized Gachagua. So for the remaining term, William Ruto is going to have a peace of mind, because if there is one man who has been giving him a run for his money in terms of how he runs his government, is Raila Amolo Odinga. Coming up with the dossier, whatever is done in a clandestine manner, Raila will come up with it. You remember the oil deal, the G2G oil deal, and all the scandals, even the exam scandal. It was Raila who used to reveal all those. So when he appointed Raila with that kind of support base, the Gen Z's protest stopped. Now from coast to western to Nyanza, they have embraced William Ruto, and they said they were not going to oppose William Ruto. And with that, Gachagua has also been forced to tag along because he knows he has been neutralized. So that is the reason why I'm telling you that as William Ruto goes or is looking at 2027, he wants a united force. And this united force will be William Ruto if things don't change. William Ruto, Raila Amolo Odinga, Musalia Mudavadi, Joho. He's trying to maneuver himself to collect Nyanza, Western Coast, and all the other parts. And with this, ladies and gentlemen, I personally believe that there is not going to be any change, because from where we sit, we believe that there needs to be change. People are tired of this administration. High taxes and chest thumping and corruption and wastage. But you can imagine that William Ruto is now even, extending an olive branch and collecting more forces so that he goes with it in 2027. It is going to be a doomsday for us, a doomed exercise. And I don't know what you think. If elections were to be held today, who do you think would win? Because William Ruto has succeeded in neutralizing all his enemies. Number two, we expected that maybe for the first time, we were going to have fresh blood away from the usual suspects. But when you listen and you look at what is happening, you will realize that apart from William Ruto, because Raila is definitely not going to be on the ballot, apart from William Samoei Ruto, we expected that we would have a strong force. But from what I hear, we only have two forces that have come out two horses. It is William Ruto and his group, and then the vector is also pointing at Kalonzo and Gashagwa. They might form another force there. We've seen this from his allies. Waititu has said it. And so, why am I saying that this is going to be another doomsday for us? Is because I expected that we needed someone who has never tested this government, or if he's been in government, he has demonstrated that is impeccable. Maybe someone like Okia Mutata. People have been talking of Matiani, but I personally believe, this is my personal opinion, that Matiani was part of the system in Uhuru era. They disobeyed court orders. He was part of the police that meted mayhem and was killing supporters of the opposition who went to the street. So I don't really welcome him. Somebody like Okia Mutata has been in the system, but is demonstrated beyond reasonable doubt that he has tried to fight for Kenyans. But when I see the formations that we have, after Raila was unveiled to go and try his hand in the African Union Commission, Kalonzo was officially unveiled now as the leader of Azimio. From where I sit, even if William Ruto is defeated and Kalonzo takes over, because it is Kalonzo, Eugene Wamalwa, Jeremiah Kioni, and all those, they are the same. I have always maintained, and I could be wrong, that all these politicians are the same. You start with William Ruto, Raila, Mudavadi, Joho, Eugene Wamalwa, Uhuru Kenyatta, Jeremiah Kioni, Kalonzo Musyoka. These people are the same. I'm saying they are the same because these people think of themselves first. You and I will come last. This is why when Raila was given an opportunity to give William Ruto people to work with, he went for Joe, who has been a minister, who has been a governor for 2 terms. He went for Oparanya, a governor for 2 terms. He went for Opiyo Wandayi, who was already privileged, minority leader. He went for John Mbadi. So these people are the same. So even if you don't elect William Ruto and you elect Kalonzo Musyoka, it is still the same thing. We saw Kalonzo Musyoka in 2007 when elections were rigged. He hurriedly formed a coalition with Mwai Kibaki. And what was the explanation? The same thing that Raila is telling us, that the country was burning and I wanted to help the country. That is what they have always said. So there's not going to be any change in litmus paper. I expected that we needed some fresh blood, someone who is not part of the system. And this is why I'm saying that our 2027 election is a sealed deal. Because from where I sit, in the unlikely event that William Ruto is not elected, we will still get just those usual suspects. But I suspect that William Ruto is going to carry the day. Because, look, for example, when Jesus was saying that they were piling pressure on William Ruto and that they were leaderless and they were tribeless and they were partyless. But then when Raila says that now we are not going because we have been given some ministerial positions, Gen Z in Nyanza, Luo Nyanza, Homa Bay, Migori, Kisumu, and Siaya are now saying, William Ruto, thank you very much. They now forgetting that they have been leaderless and partyless and tribeless. They are now following Raila's footsteps. That tells you they belong to ODM. They follow Raila's political ideology, so they have a party. They have a leader who is Raila Amolo Odinga. And so this is going to be reflected in the voting pattern. As people go to vote, those Gen Zs who are from Mount Kenya are going to vote for Gachagua. Those who are from Eastern, Kalonzo's backyard, will vote for Kalonzo. Those who are following Raila's footsteps will vote for William Ruto because Raila supports him. This thing about they are leaderless, I don't think it is true. Because they have demonstrated, if they were leaderless, those from Nyanza would have told Raila, yes, you have given Mbadi and Opiyo Wandayi some position, but for us, we are still going to the street. The moment it stopped, it tells me that is how the voting pattern is going to look like. And that's why I still insist we are a doomed nation, because there is not going to be any change. Corruption and wasted is going to be perpetuated. They have sanitized William Ruto. Even the deaths that occurred, they have not been accounted for. The votes that were rigged have not been accounted for. So it is not unless we change drastically, not unless a miracle happens, it is still going to be the same script. And I don't know what you think, but all those tours and the way William Ruto has been received in Nyanza is a pointer that we have not changed, is a pointer that it is going to be the same. And I know it is not bad to be given some positions, but is that enough to forget the atrocities that have been meted on us? Is it enough now to sign it as William Ruto and we no longer talk about corruption? I don't know, but it is a bleak future for us.